Welcome to Property Deconstructed with Mark Irichello from Master Advocates, who specialises in finding the perfect home and investment property to suit you and your needs. Now, Property Deconstructed, that's what we're doing today. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, investing in a property, everything you need to know, the tips and tricks with the professionals. And Mark Irichello is here with me. G'day, Mark.
Hey, Pat, thanks, mate. It's always nice to see your face.
That's
and be
right.
in the same room with you.
Yeah, we've done this a few times on different platforms, and here we are. Tips and tricks from experts in property in your field, and you select a guest to come in every week. So who are we talking to this week?
A long time friend and professional that I know in the industry. I'm very proud to have Mohamed Shabib here from Victorian Building Inspectionz on the show. So it's over 20 years experience in the building industry and a great property inspector.
Yep.
And here for our very first episode as well. So
right, property and pest inspecting, Mohamed.
Correct, Pat.
This is the man you need when you're purchasing a property, because he gets in there and makes sure it's all okay.
Yeah, talking about shared wisdom and knowing a bit of due diligence. I deeply value Mohamed's knowledge and reports whenever we're buying property.
Right.
But thanks for coming on, Mohamed. It's good.
Thank you, Mark.
Good to see you. And you can share a little bit about your history as well and what you do with your company, if you like.
Definitely, Mark. Thank you, and thank you, Pat, as well.
My pleasure.
I'm Mohamed from Victorian Building Inspectionz. I have been a builder for the last 25 years, and times have changed from then till now. A lot of regulations have changed, and the whole focus is on protecting our buyers, whether they're investors, first-home buyers, or even renters, for instance, as well. Mm-hmm. And it's all about making sure our clients understand everything about the property so they can get their numbers right. They can actually break down on everything they need to do from now till they settle, what rectification works, what they need to cater for in the future. And that's the whole focus about building inspections and my business.
No, great. No, it's a really good overview. Thanks for sharing that. Within regards to some of the points that you mentioned, whether it's investor or owner occupiers as well. Buyer beware when you're purchasing a property is a great saying to keep in mind with your due diligence. So there's a Latin phrase, caveat emptor, which is in simple terms, buyer beware.
Yes.
So
I remember learning that in Year 12 legal studies.
Legal studies, yeah. Well,
buyer beware.
I learned it from sales background before buyers advocacy.
Yes.
But really, as a sales agent, your duty, if you know of a material fact and you're asked, that's something that you need to share. But your duty is to sell the property in the best way for the vendor, not necessarily do all the due diligence for the buyer. The buyer needs to take some responsibility and liability to do their research, make sure they're satisfied. One way is getting a building inspector, and more so than ever, not just owner occupiers, but for residential investment, the new Residential Tenancy Act minimum standards have been, people have been aware of all the new reforms the last few years in Victoria.
Right.
And now 2023, that's all getting enforced. So the properties need to be up to a certain code if you're buying an investment.
Right.
Mohamed, if you wanted to share a little bit about the biggest risks you see or people taking before they buy.
Definitely. Definitely. So when it comes to first-time buyers, even second time round buyers, not investors, they need to understand what's involved in a property. Well, the main bones about the property, which are structurally, whether it's sound, second of all, whether plumbing-wise, which is the veins of the property, and your electrical. They're the three main components.
Right, let me write that down. So the structural
soundness,
the plumbing, and the electrical.
Correct.
Yeah,
those are the three main items, and there are subcategories. So in plumbing, you got waterproofing, you got drainage, you got gutters, downpipes, even fixtures such as taps. And then your electrics is your main switchboards, and then it follows through onto appliances. So appliances fall between electrical and plumbing at the same time. It could be a gas heater, it could be a hot water system.
So you have a checklist to go through all this. You've got the three main categories and also the subcategories, and Mohamed gets in there and just checks the whole place out.
Yeah,
Correct.
it gives us a good looking report too, and
Right.
and importantly gets in the crawl spaces where I don't want to dirty my nice suit sometimes. Well,
The fun
I'm
parts.
a bit scared, but I've seen him get
He
into
goes
some.
and gets the coffee when you're crawling in the...
I've seen Mohammed get into some dark spaces there, but picks up a lot of issues that you can't pick up superficially with the naked eye walking through the house.
Got it.
And based on experience is great.
And the next one is pretty much comes down to we'll finish off the first home buyers and second home buyers. Pretty much it also gives them an indication as to when they can rectify these items, so they can prioritize, give them a time frame. They got 1 year before they can rectify this, or 5 years or 10 years. So that way they can manage their funds properly. They can either go, okay, I can spend $1 million because I can wait 5 years to rectify this.
Got it.
Or no, my budget is $950 because I got $50,000 to rectify.
So you can do your planning.
Correct.
Something might not be quite right, but you know that you've got 5 years to put it on the radar and pay for it.
That roadmap helps, when we're quantifying current property value, location, and then whether if you're going to take on certain defects, if you can't get it in as a special condition to negotiate an adjustment in price, and you're just preparing to buy, is it going to be feasible? Are we going to be over-capitalising if we improve these things? Will it be realised?
Yes.
And the client's goal. Are they living there long term? Is it just an investment? All those things. So and funny that you mentioned plumbing and electrical. They're actually our episode 2 guests. So it'll be a good lead in.
Which 1 and 2?
Yeah,
correct.
Mohammed, it's an emotional decision when you purchase a home. So people, you go in there and say, I know you love this home, but there may be a problem. Does that often happen? People sort of think, oh, that's a shame. I love that place. And now you have to break the news to them that they've got some other work to do.
Correct. So I have had those scenarios a number of times as well with Mark as well, some of our clients. However, we can work out a solution and see what things can be delayed if they still want to purchase that property. And if it fits within their budgets, then it's okay. If they have a plan where they're going to be there for 15 years or 20 years, even if they over-capitalise a little bit, this is where Mark's expertise comes in. It's okay if they spend that little bit more, even if they over-capitalise.
Right.
We try not to, because it's not the right way of.
But at least they've got
things.
the full picture.
Yes,
they're
got
prepared.
it.
It's
Yes.
not a surprise later, when you've gone and invested all your savings into the property, and you get a surprise $10,000 or $20,000, bill for works, and it's immediate works that can't wait. So
this is the advantage of really using a buyer's advocate as well, because you use Mohammed to get the report, then you can interpret the report and then give the plan to the client or the person
it's
who
really
wants
it's
them
a
to
collective. It's a whole collective. You need your shared experts, and everyone plays their part, but it's all related to the property acquisition.
Right.
Yeah, from the legal and finances through to building inspectors. Everyone's a team.
Yes. All right, buyer beware. Is there anything on the other side that the law protects us from? Is it basically the onus on the purchaser to check all this out? I guess you've got the law that protects you as you go as well.
Yeah, look, there is some. You need to gather your evidence to be able to. You've got the right to a final inspection at that week before settlement.
Yep.
But if you don't have the evidence gathered,
you just walk through again.
Yeah, and a professional. Not I'm not a professional building inspector, so it's my opinion whether I think something's a major or minor defect, or whether it was in that condition before. But we've time-stamped the building structure, we've time-stamped the plumbing and electrical in some cases, and if it's not listed as auction or in a private sale, the agents and vendors are willing to afford us the opportunity to have a special condition, subject to building inspection, subject to pest, electrical, plumbing, whatever conditions you've got, then you're in a position to come back to the negotiation table, either walk away or negotiate an adjustment in price for the defects. So, but there's a lot of scenarios, and I guess that was I was wanting to even ask Mohammed if in that sense, is there a particular building style with your years of experience that you find a better, structurally safer, a safer bet that you're going to, before you walk in, okay, this period and materials was a better buy for the public. Yeah.
Definitely, a lot of the period homes, they use quality materials. They're hardwood, they're hard wearing. In terms of waterproofing, we used to use the old asbestos sheets as opposed to Villa boards or Aquacheck Gyprock boards. The materials pre-1980s...
It's being diplomatic here.
Yeah.
Were better back then.
Were
Is that what you're saying?
better than,
Right, okay.
than now.
Right.
Not always good for your health, but good for the
Correct.
longevity of the home, the structure.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So you need to mix a bit of science in the future there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, again, with building inspections, we do report on asbestos as well. If you do asbestos audits,
right.
provided you've done a licensing for it. And yes, the materials pre-1980s were much better.
Right.
They were hard-wearing and they lasted a long time.
So if you're buying, am I hearing you right? If you're buying a home which is before 1980s, you're sort of safer for this sort of stuff. Yeah,
You
can
still
sort
see them there without a crack in them sometimes,
Right. Isn't that
compared to
interesting? Yeah,
modern
right.
stuff. Unless you get a good modern builder that's putting care into it and good materials and more expensive now, but to build. But Mohammed be more of an expert on that side, being a licensed builder. But I think even some of the homes over the years for our investors that have refurbished properties, the best ones that are ready to refurbish and add value to have been that sort of 80s and pre period, even early 90s.
Definitely, Mark. And it comes down to one example is timber. We got hardwood and we got softwood like pine that we use now. If we did have a water leak in a bathroom, the pine would rot much quicker than the hardwood. So therefore, makes sense that all period homes, their materials are very durable, as opposed to now weatherboards as well. We've had to change weatherboards to pretty much cement-based boards now to as an alternative, because we can't use soft timbers now for weatherboards. They'll just simply rot within a year or two if it's not sealed correctly.
Right. So you must spend a lot of time putting the reports together. Do you have a team? So you go out on site, then the report has to be all put together and handed to someone like Mark. So there's a whole sort of process there.
So
do you get any time off?
I do. Balance in life is always good, Pat.
Work-life balance.
So I'm solo. I work for myself. I prefer that system, because if I'm going to have a team, I mean, it's hard to find the right team because they might miss things, they might not know what they're doing, and then it reflects back on
liability.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in terms of putting reports, I do the inspection. I prepare the report while I'm doing the inspection, so therefore I don't need to spend time at home sitting down preparing reports. Spend time with the family as well. So pretty much
got it worked out.
No, I think you've got it right. Yeah. And we can also, share some examples of the reports if listeners are wanting to, or questions for Mohammed. We can get them to connect and share that. But man, Pat, you might have some other questions for Mohammed. But I was going to ask, before you finish off, is if there's any aspect for profile and awareness of due diligence for building inspections, even legislative wise, that we should have in Victoria, or changes for the future, how you see it should evolve.
Definitely. So Melbourne, we can't say it's delayed, but the system can be improved. It can be improved similar to Sydney. Sydney, they conduct building and pest inspections and attach it to Section 32. Gives the buyer or investor or anyone looking at that particular property the knowledge that they need before they make their decisions and buy that house. So if
every vendor must attach it, I think ACT Canberra might be the same. So
correct.
They must attach it to the Section 32 show or buy before they purchase.
Correct. Which gives an advantage to the buyer rather than wasting time organising a building and pest inspector, as well as the agents' time, and the buyer's advocate as well, because buyer's advocate has to reach out, then the communication has to happen, and there's a whole lot that gets involved. But it would be good if it can be improved similar to Sydney, ACT, Canberra, as Mark was saying.
It is a good suggestion. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be good if contracts are ready at the beginning. In some states, they must be ready before the property gets advertised. So at least you've got time to prepare.
Yep.
So a building and pest report is not a certificate of insurance or not an insurance document. It's a wealth of knowledge for the buyer and the buyer's advocate to make the decision as to how to move forward in purchasing the property.
Right. So it's a valuable tool for you,
Definitely.
I guess, Mark.
Yeah.
It's vital. You can't really purchase a home without it.
No, and I don't ever recommend it. I've never purchased a property myself or my wife Michelle without one, and it's actually the ground that we go in other directions for further due diligence from Mohammed's report. If he suspects a major plumbing issue, we'll get a plumber, electrical, or something may need an engineer. So at least you're informed, can make the right steps from there.
Yep. It's all about being informed and making sure you do it the right way.
Correct.
Well, there you are. There's the first episode, Property Deconstructed. Mark Ericello. And thank our guest, Mark. And we'll get do we want to get a website as well? You can tell us where we can find you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, definitely. www.victorianbuildinginspections.com.au. Or you can reach out to me on 0477 977 779 or email address info@victorianbuildinginspections.com.au.
Mohammed Shabib from Victorian Building Inspections with a Z on the end. You can find him online. Thanks for your time in the studio today, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mohammed.
Really appreciate it. You too. Thank you.